tried to say it was harder than catching the moon. And when the words fell out, I saw the warmth filling the room. So I gathered the strength to lift it, and you picked it up and laid it down. And you picked me up and I am found. Oh, oh, oh.
Chúc mừng năm mới from Vietnam. It's the Lunar New Year and I'm still releasing Year of the Snake with my itchy skin. I have been very reflective, shock, being a reflector, and taking this week off life, I suppose, to write and realign strands of thoughts that were confusing to me or leading me in different directions whilst not actually having any purpose whatsoever. And along that I wrote a few ideas of how I wanted to kind of come back to YouTube, and yeah, I feel like there's more of a mutual exchange, I suppose, because there's a million reasons why to do something and a million and one why to not. So you have to always, or I always try to focus in on that one reason that feels most aligned to me, or the collective of thoughts and feelings that I've attributed to being me, in varying degrees of success sometimes, whatever success means to that. Could be just experimental, right? So yeah, I think I put an enormous amount of pressure on myself to have figured things out. And I realized that is impossible. And I think at first that can be overwhelming, but after a little bit of time, you realize that's actually really quite peaceful. I just wrote a poem and it's called Enough. It's about ideas and thoughts coming to you, and as Ram Dass says, you know, they come in for tea, you invite them in for tea, and it becomes less of a big deal that they're around. But I made a funny, basically saying that they moved in without consent, and they made up shop, and they overstepped a lot of my house boundaries that I have for myself. And just because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to have standards for my life and my home. And I think some of the thoughts that I've been exploring over the last few years have been really pushing what I knew my boundaries to be. Yeah, just even the consideration of that thought, oh, I don't grow old, I don't want to grow old. And like, yeah, we lose certain things about ourselves or what we've known ourselves to be when we grow, but what a shitty way to live, in constant dread of what you're going to become. And I believe that thought kind of ripples out into other ways of being. It doesn't deny the transformation of someone. You know, we can do some things better and some things not so good as we grow and we age. But I think fundamentally we have to really anchor into the beauty of life where we are, whether that's 13, 30, 103. That was a big jump now, isn't it? But whatever the number says. So I've been thinking a lot about how to live my life without regrets, and I think a lot of that is the decision to not blame myself when things don't go the way I wanted them to go, but they haven't. I have a little book of answers that a friend gave me because I do my readings, and it basically said something along the lines of, it is what it is. When I opened today's message, it is what it is, or if it's meant to be, it will be. And like, these things sound so cliche from one perspective, but also the full majesty of that concept, I think, can only really be felt. Like, it is what it is. If it's aligned to be so, it is so. I'm just gonna let the wind speak. And so, to kind of tie this all together, why I'm talking about this right now is there is always going to be a pressure to be something more than you are, because that's fundamentally human, to expand and explore and push boundaries, even if those boundaries are, you know, taking drugs and sitting in your room, or they're climbing buildings and hiking forests. Whatever those boundaries look like, human nature is to explore as such. I mean, there are ways in which we can do that, perhaps healthily. Maybe not. Maybe from the universal perspective, nothing really matters and no one really cares, but from the human one, we have things that have consequences. And that can be quite nice, I think. Helps you prioritize what really matters. Like, I've stayed in the city for Lunar New Year in Ho Chi Minh, and there was, an abundance of, let's do this, and, can I see you? And whilst that's lovely, I've kind of noticed how, even as I anchor myself in myself, I'm still in a transient step of my life, and I've attracted a lot of transient relationships into my reality that maybe are seeking to fill time rather than explore time with me, And that's not essentially a bad thing in any way, but it's something that really I'm trying to move past in myself as well. People are not transient, they touch you once and they're there forever, That's the real impact of reality for me. Even if I don't ever want to speak to them again, or we just grow apart, or they pass away into the next realms, there's I think a need from my heart, a desire from my heart to stay grateful for moments past and things that have passed, having reverence for that which is no longer around. That being said, I think I want to say thank you to you for engaging and watching. If any of this ramble has been resonant or intriguing to you, I'd love to hear down below your experience. A like will always suffice. the gods of YouTube to help my stuff be seen by who needs to see it. And if neither of those things appeal to you, I thank you for your humble no. And may you be blessed. May we all be blessed moving into the new year. All unfolds in the perfect way. And so it is.